Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Today I've got some BF4 gameplay for you, Operation Outbreak, the community map project. Now unfortunately the audio track on this footage was corrupted and it does not sound good. So there is no gameplay audio, but I thought within the context of the video and what we're going to be talking about, it wasn't really important. So I've just whacked some classic Battlefield music in the background there. You'll be able to listen to that from time to time as the gameplay goes on. And it was a really great round on this map. It's one of those infantry only servers, and there's just this nice moment with the pickup sniper rifle, and also later on in the video I got the M60 pickup too, you know, the one with the little Bad Company logo on the side on the ammo box. And just a really nice round of BF4, to be honest with you. I didn't want it to go to waste, and I thought that this would be a good opportunity to just chat, get some things off my chest, have a bit of a discussion with you guys in the comments below. So that's what you'll be watching. And what are we going to be talking about? Well, BF5 is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, believe it or not, the game has only been out really 3 months if you think about it. It came out November, December, January, February. Okay, 3 to 4 months. And I'm seeing so many people say that they're just not playing it anymore. They're bored of it. They're not really enjoying the gameplay in it. And I just thought that I'd put a video together and kind of talk about it, get my opinion across and how I feel about the game at the moment. So the game launched with 8 maps, as we all know, and I made it no secret before launch that I thought 8 maps was too little for a Battlefield game. And of course in December we got Firestorm. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm kind of in the middle with it. Sometimes I think it's good, sometimes I just think it's a terrible map and there's too much running around, but there you go. And on top of that, of course, we've had new game modes thrown into the mix like Squad Conquest. We've had this new Grand Operation recently with 64 player rush in it. And new Tides of War stuff too, like vehicles, tanks to unlock, and plenty of new weapons thrown in there too. Saying that, I have to be honest and admit that I haven't really played the game that much recently. Like, I play it every Thursday when a new Tides of War comes out and I unlock the thing and then make a video on it, but I'm not really playing the game for fun at the moment. And I think the main reason for that is just the lack of maps and the lack of different new content in the game. What do I mean by that? Well, Firestorm, I'm absolutely looking forward to that, and I know for a fact that I'm going to play the crap out of Firestorm. I've always wanted, since PUBG came around, a Battle Royale type experience on the Frostbite engine, and with Firestorm we're getting that wrapped up in BF5, and I am really looking forward to that, diving into it, checking the map out, getting some gameplay for you guys, playing in random squads, maybe doing some live streams. I think when Firestorm comes out, it's going to be a fun few weeks. It doesn't look like it's going to be a standalone thing or a free-to-play thing, which it totally should be, especially now with Apex in the mix and Fortnite coming back strong with Season 8. But Firestorm is a game mode within BF5, and if you want access to it, you're going to have to buy the game or get it on Origin Access or something, right? Which I think is a terrible idea, but that's the way it is. It's a mode within the game, and for now, that's what it looks like it's going to launch with. And if you think about it, there's still a couple of weeks left of this Tides of War. So really, we're not going to see Firestorm until maybe the 3rd or 4th week in March, towards the end of the month. Next week, we're going to get 32 player rush as a dedicated game mode. And I'm actually really looking forward to playing a few rounds of that. But the problem is that I just feel so burnt out with the map pool in the game at the moment. Greece, new location, coming soon apparently. Not really clear on that one though. We don't know exactly how many maps that's going to be, or even what date it's going to release. But going back to the live service and looking at what we've got so far, I feel like most of the stuff hasn't really been that compelling or interesting to keep me coming back and playing. And I don't actually class most of it as new content. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the Tides of War guns in the game so far are guns that we had in BF1. And yes, I know you can say, well, they used them in World War 1 and World War 2, but that's not really the point. If you're a Battlefield player and you're playing BF5, you most likely would have played BF1. And when you get new guns dropped on you that you've been playing loads with in BF1 for the past 2 years, they don't feel like a new gun, do they? Even if they look and handle completely differently, it's just not that exciting. And of course the combined arms, massive letdown, practice range, letdown again. Both of those new components also took place on existing multiplayer maps that we've been playing since the game launched. So therefore most of the players gravitate back to Conquest and Grand Operations, but it's on the same maps that you've been playing over and over and over again. And by today's standards, with how quickly certain games update and add actual new content, our expectations are raised so high, and because of the way that the world is right now, everyone's attention spans are so low. It's got to be new, it's got to be now, what's the next thing? I'm bored of this, let's see something new. Playing on those same maps and game modes over and over again, I just don't think it cuts it anymore. Some might say, well, isn't this just about the gameplay, right? It shouldn't matter that there's no new maps if the game is fun and you enjoy it. And yeah, okay, that's great. If you enjoy the game and are playing on the same maps over and over again and the same game modes, all power to you, you know, that's brilliant. You keep on doing that, man. But for me personally, it isn't about the gameplay, because I actually quite like the gameplay in BF5. I think the gunplay is incredible. I love the new movement system. There's not really as much explosive spam as there's been in previous games. And I think it's a lot more focused on team play, which I enjoy. So for me, it's not a gameplay problem. I love the gameplay of BF5. It's just a lack of content. And when you play it for hundreds and hundreds of hours, that's how I feel. And I think it's fair to say that. Yeah, there's definitely a few things that I would change with the gameplay. For example, I don't think BF5 is as much of a sandbox environment as, let's say, BF3 and BF4 was, and I think it's lost a lot of those key battlefield moments, and perhaps the things that were a bit more fun and less realistic, let's say. But for the most part, I think it's a fantastic multiplayer shooter, and really there's nothing else like it on the market at the moment. For me, it all comes down to lack of content. I am bored of playing on the same maps now, and there's not really been any solid, crystal clear information on what's coming and what to look forward to. This game needs actual new content ASAP, and I'm not talking about Firestorm, I'm talking about actual base game multiplayer maps, new factions, new weapons, new game modes, interesting things, changing the meta of the game, a massive injection of a lot of that stuff that we thought would be in a new, updated World War II Battlefield game. That's what it needs in my opinion. Now, what are the reasons that this has happened? Why is the game so light on content, and why does it feel like it? Well, this game just didn't have enough development time, and even after the 1 month delay, there were still so many bugs and problems with the game. And it feels like because of that release date, and the devs not really having that much time to work on this game. I think it was 18-month dev time or something before it launched. Since November, that's what they've been focused on, fixing all of the bugs and issues with the game. That feels like a fair assumption to make to me, because if you look at most of the patches for this game, they've mainly been a ton of bug fixes with the occasional new feature added, like the improved vaulting or climbing, for example. Would new content have come out sooner if the devs had more time to work on the base game? Maybe, we can't say for sure, but I think it's logical to say that. But it makes me wonder, what's the fix for this? Could it have been better managed by DICE? Maybe their ambition was a bit too high with the initial launch of the game and all the features, taking into account the amount of time they had to put this together. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be ambitious, that's terrible, but you've got to manage your expectations and the time you've got available there. Maybe throughout the development, a decision could have been made to really scale back on the war stories, for example, and just throw people and time at the multiplayer, because we all know that multiplayer is the staple of Battlefield. It's what you think about when you say Battlefield. You don't remember the single player, you remember all of the awesome moments that you've had in multiplayer. And that's what keeps people coming back. It's not the single player. And yes, of course, I realize hindsight is 2020, but I feel like this is just repeating the mistakes of the past. And let's say there was much more of a focus on multiplayer content instead of the co-op, instead of the single player war stories, then we could be in a position now where those devs and that time and money could have been spent on actual live service content, and they could have started stacking up new content and new maps and new game modes, so they've got this regular rollout of real new stuff that people expect when you say it's a live service. Personally, I would have been prepared to wait like another 3 months or so, let's say, for the game to be in a more polished state and have a more regular update cadence with substantial content drops. But this kind of stuff, what's actually happened, what's occurred, I think it's so bad for the reputation of DICE, and they're definitely starting to fall out of favour with Battlefield fans. You can feel it on the forums, on Reddit, on social media, in the YouTube comments. And yes, not every Battlefield player is going to be on social media or the forums or on YouTube, but the people that do make those posts are often the most passionate core gamers of that franchise. And when you compare BF5 to other new releases like Apex, for example, yeah, there's a couple of bugs in Apex, but it's polished as hell. You play a round of Apex and you might run into like 1 or 2 bugs. You play a round of BF5 and still, after all these updates and patches, you're running into a lot of bugs and annoyances every single round. The players notice that, and there will always be comparisons. Yes, 1-to-1, Apex and Battlefield, totally different games with different scope and scale, but it doesn't matter. Comparisons of quality will be made. It's all about the final product. So what I'm getting at is that I hope in the future DICE look at what happened here and do things differently, rearrange things in a way that they can focus on delivering more regular content. The gaming industry, it really looks like it's going down this live service route. And yes, it's new, it's emerging, it's probably really difficult, but the live service component of BF5 up until now has been a failure in my opinion. It hasn't delivered enough truly new content to the game, and it needs to be better for BF5 to stay relevant, to retain a healthy player base and entice new people to buy the game. That's how I feel about it. I love the Battlefield franchise and I want this game to succeed, but I really feel passionately that changes need to be made, and I really hope that DICE have got a solid plan in place with upcoming future content, and also of course the ability to deliver on any promises. Can maps just appear out of thin air? No, of course not. Battlefield maps are big and sprawling and detailed. They require time. People understand that, but maybe it's a case of reorganizing things and putting more people on it and getting it done in advance, so this live service model can actually be a reality that people will enjoy and keep them coming back to the game. And I think for now that's all I'm going to say, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How do you feel about the live service? Have you been happy with it so far? Disappointed? Are you still playing BF5? Completely gone off it? Let me know either way. Let's have a chat. And that's all for today, folks. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.